Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Season 4, Episode 9 of the Rink Moose Hockey Podcast, an episodic podcast where 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 good friends gather around a table and discuss all things NHL and their implications in the fantasy hockey universe. I am one of your hosts, as always, Nick Costu, along with my good pal this evening, Kyle Nice. Kyle, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday night?
Yeah, pretty good. I'll let the fans be privy to some of our setting choices today. We were meant to be recording this show from a hot tub in your building. Yep. That dream was alive and well for a good 20 minutes, and then we got down there and it was the yellow caution tape telling us to vacate and scram. So good second place. We're in Nick's king size bed watching the Rangers game live. So that's a great silver medal for me personally. Great. And yeah, comfortable. We're sitting back. We've got the game on, so we're gonna be kind of live reacting, kind of talking about the show as we go along here. We've got a couple of adult beverages. This is more comfortable in the chair. You talk about the round table in the intro. I think that might need to be changed. Yeah, true. You know, it's not always a table. And think of this. Think if we're in this bed and we've got Joe right in the middle. Yeah. Oh, that would what if we had Joe and maybe even a Josh?
Yeah, in this king bed, you could fit like 5 people. I mean that sincerely.
Yeah, seriously. Like what if we just get the whole crew just snuggling on this bed doing the show? Be awesome. It'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious.
I think the fans would love that.
Yes.
We might even get to the hot tub one day. You know, you can always hold out hope for that. So, So anyways, we'll be recapping the second round that just finished up a few nights ago. Game 7, Carolina Rangers, and then we'll be giving our predictions of this coming round here. We got 4 teams left. We're down to the final 4. We got the Rangers and the Lightning, and we got Colorado and Edmonton. Some would say the goalie duel, and then the generational superstar duel. Is that right?
You could say that. Yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
Depending on who the generational, like some might say it's Makar versus McDavid. Some might say it's McDavid against McKinnon. Some might want to throw Draisaitl's hat in there. You know.
Yeah. The media headlines will give you the McKinnon-McDavid because it's cherry picking, but that's a great point. Like McDavid obviously is the generational forward of this generation. Makar is that guy on defense. You know, the jury's out on McKinnon. I think he's kind of in that upper echelon as well, but if there can only be one generational guy, it's probably McDavid. So that's a great way to look at it is Makar, the generational defenseman, versus the forward. Truly. And game 1 gave a little bit of an insight to that too.
We'll get into that shortly. But to begin, we'll recap starting with Colorado. They of course. What?
Before we go there, we wanted to compare 2 of the NHL's best analysts of all time in terms of play-by-play.
Well, we haven't gotten there. No, we got to get to that series. You know, we'll get there. Cuz we'll get there in short order. Don't worry. So anyways, Colorado, they had to get through the St. Louis Blues. They dispatched with them in 6 games. Of course, the Darren Helm game winner in game 6. The game was headed to overtime. Everyone had overtime circled on their calendars. And this guy Darren Helm, who seemingly you haven't noticed play this league in almost a decade, scores the game winner and sends Colorado to their first ever West final in I think 20 years, if I read that right. Yeah. And of course you're rejoicing. Long time for you. You've been waiting a long time for this. Lots of heartbreak. The Dallas series, the Vegas series, long road for Jared Bednar and company. And, of course, it was probably the most dramatic, interesting series of the bunch. You had the Nazem Kadri, Binnington drama. Oh, you had Binnington's injury, which we got more about that drama, I guess, recently, right? You have Kadri putting up numbers despite all the social media hate he was getting. You had the Blues coming back in a crazy game 5, We thought McKinnon had sent his team to the final. They come back. I mean, so much to get to in this series. Where do you want to begin?
Well, I think I'll begin with like the initial perception, which was very much this is going to be a tough series. I fully expected it to be a tough series. At the end of the day, from a zoomed out perspective, Colorado did dominate a lot of play. Binnington was the story in many, many different ways in this series. First and foremost, he was an incredible goalie. This was the Binnington comeback story. If anything was to take down Colorado, it was somehow this guy finding magic, lightning in a bottle, which doesn't make any sense. Like, the guy has been shit for 2 years now, but he was amazing. And then you have this lightning rod of a player, Nazem Kadri, who, as you know, in the last so many years of the playoffs has been suspended, screwing his team over, doing this, that, and the other to be basically kicked out of the playoffs. And this series, honestly, I think he might have been the most important forward, because he took out Jordan Binnington by accident, but that was a key play, and he was incredible. We had the storyline with the racist comments, and then he scored a hat trick in the next game. Like, this was Kadri's coming out party for me. This is what made me fall in love with this player. That's something that shouldn't be understated. And yeah, just a bunch of different storylines. But what the underlying numbers will tell you was that this was very much a Colorado series, and they slayed the demons. I would love to be the guy to rub it into Joe to say, hey, my team slayed the demons. Your argument no longer stands. Oh, they can't get out of the second round. They haven't won shit. That's dead and gone. Like, it keeps coming. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was a great series. Another thing I noticed was you saw Sam Girard go down, and you had really Bowen Byram stepping up big time. Like, this is a defenseman, young guy, injury troubles, but he really stepped into his own here, and it's continued into the first game of this next series too. He was great. What is going on? Yeah, we're just seeing some Rangers Tampa drama early on, and I will say the Rangers haven't got into really like physical scrummy drama yet too much in their series, not to an extreme degree.
That Trouba guy.
Well, that's a different story.
He's
yeah.
Nasty, We'll get into that with that.
Yeah.
Series, but yeah.
Yeah. But there's Corey Perry doing his thing. Sorry, you go on.
That.
Yeah, like they haven't seen this yet. I'm telling you, like, though Trouba has been fucking people up, there hasn't been a big response from a Carolina or a Pittsburgh. I don't think Tampa's gonna put up with that kind of shit.
No, they're not soft. But no, I love your comment about Bo Byram. I think this was his coming out party for me. I don't watch a lot of Colorado. I should, but I don't. And he was obviously injury riddled all year, right? Yeah. All I heard about him was athletic articles about him hiking in Alaska. I wasn't reading about his play on the ice. Right. And then all of a sudden I tune into the playoffs and he's playing all of a sudden. I'm like, whoa, this is great. And he's been killing it. He's been his transition up and down the ice, his passing, his skating, his gap control, it's all incredibly sound. Super confident. Like, he looks confident. Like, he holds the puck. He's not afraid to make a play. Yeah. You could tell Bednar has confidence in him. He's not just short shifting him, giving him 14 minutes a night and telling him, hey, only make smart plays. Like, he's risky. He's making big boy plays. Right. So very Steven Stamkos, one-timer. Fuck. Beautiful shot, yeah. From a ways out, but just shows you how good of a shot it was, beating Shesterkin. Yeah. Wow. Let's take a look at this replay here, folks. As he looks up to the Jumbotron. Wow, look at this.
For those thinking this would be a 1-0 game,
yeah,
I'm not sure.
I was not excited for this series. I really wasn't. But we're seeing 2 goals in the span of the first 8 minutes here. Wow.
Just a great shot.
Yeah, beautiful. 1-1 Tampa, New York, as we're 12 minutes left here in the first period. Just getting going here. But yeah, Bo Byram really impressed me. Of course, Kadri. What else can be said about him? Guy delivers, which is good to see. I mean, for a guy who keeps getting, ejected out of the playoffs and who can't stay in the playoffs, it's good to see that he's kind of, he's still showing that attitude. Like when he scored, he was selling and showing attitude and stuff, but in a different way. Not in a harsh, I'm gonna get suspended and fuck you up way. Like in a, I told you I could fucking do this. You're making fun of me on social media. I can shove it up yours.
Yeah.
And good on him. And like that one game, I don't know what it was in St. Louis, game 3 or 4. Like it was the game after Binnington got injured when he put up a hat trick, and it was just like it was so fitting. And you could tell the Blues were so frustrated. Like so frustrated. And they took all those penalties and they lost the series for themselves. Really, if you ask me, through their frustration and just not playing smart.
Yeah. And let me give a little bit of credit to the other side too, because I thought, especially early on in the series, Ryan O'Reilly was fantastic on McKinnon. Like McKinnon still had his thing going on a little bit, but if you want to point to a player in a series like doing his thing against a top player like McKinnon, that was pretty textbook, and I was super impressed.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Shut him down.
Yeah, it was super impressive. And you know what? Edmonton doesn't have a player like that, a shutdown guy like that. So that's why it's going to be such a high scoring series. But I was really impressed with Ryan O'Reilly. And then, let's talk a bit about Game 5 and that magical, but yet not so magical end of the game there. So as you know, St. Louis storms back from, I think it was 3-1 to make it 3-3, and I'm like, oh boy, the demons are showing up again. And then out of nowhere, McKinnon starts reeling up and getting on his horse in his own zone, and he pulls off the goal of the playoffs. Unbelievable goal. I'm freaking out. I'm trying to call everybody. I'm calling you, and I'm saying, Nick, what the fuck just happened?
Prematurely calling me, thinking the game is over.
Yeah, like there was 3 minutes left, and I was like, that so feels like the series winning goal. And if you looked on Twitter, if you looked online, everyone agreed. They're like, wow, that was amazing. They've slayed the demons. And then what do you know? St. Louis ties it up, and they end up winning it overtime.
And it's like Tyler Bozak. Like, did you even think he was in the league anymore?
No.
That guy didn't play the whole series. Like, the guy barely played. It was like a Darren Helm goal. It was exactly that. It was a guy who barely plays. He's on the fourth line, and he scores a terrible goal that shouldn't have gone in on Darcy Kemper. And we'll get into him because he has not been on his game.
No. But yeah, it was a shame the way it all went down. A huge shame.
And had they won that game 6, they would have had a momentum probably going into 7.
Indeed.
That's the sad part.
Oh.
They almost did it.
Well, that's the thing. Like that game 7 would have been a coin flip at the end of the day. Like I would have been shaking in my boots. Like it's thank God that this veteran Darren Helm was able to get it done. But no, and now it's we'll talk about the next series later. But it was great to see. It was great to see them slay the demons.
What did you think of Rick Clouseau's game?
Sorry?
Rick Clouseau.
Who the fuck is that?
So, O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill's nickname for Billy Huso is Rick Clouseau.
Why? What's the story?
I don't know. He just calls him Rick Clouseau. I don't know. And then when they find a goalie who's not it's like calling Francouz Frances.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like you make fun of the guy when you find he's not very good.
Right.
Were you not impressed with Rick Clouseau's game after the Binnington injury?
No, I mean, like, as soon as I saw Clouseau play, I was like, you know what? Despite all this and just drama, this series is over.
Right.
Like, you could kind of tell, like, St. Louis, they were the inferior team, but with this goalie, they had a shot. Mm-hmm. That shot was taken out by Kadri, who's just an unreal in how he is able to injure someone on purpose but by accident. Sure. And he was the MVP. He was the MVP. So now the hockey world gets a treat. and the better team won. You know what? That's the thing we should say. This is the most entertaining conference finals ever.
Well, on one side, yeah.
No.
You think
Like,
this is going to be
historically good No, not necessarily. But like, how often do you get the best teams / the most exciting teams in the finals?
I consider the Rangers very exciting.
No, that's the anomaly here. We know that. That's the
The
anomaly.
Lightning are boring. They've been here, done that. I would have liked to see something fresh,
Sure, but they are the best team in the East.
Yep.
The best team in the East has made it. The best team in the West has made it. And you sprinkle in a little bit of the best player in the world. We've got so much going on right now. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. Like, I'm usually checked out. Like I told you last episode, by round 2, I usually check out to some extent. And by conference finals, I'm absolutely checked out. But now it's like you're intrigued. You're there,
Yeah.
You're locked in. So, yeah. Anyways, other Western semifinal, the Battle of Alberta. The most hyped up series. You're talking about hyped up series. This was a hyped up series.
Oh, yeah.
And, boy, I mean, in a way it met expectations because we had some really good games. That first game, it was like 8-7 or whatever. Both goalies got pulled or, the second game was crazy too. Those first 2 games in Calgary in particular were really, really incredible. But then, I don't even remember the rest of the series, to be completely honest. Like, it kind of went in a blur.
Right.
Edmonton kind of just stepped it up. There was a TSN turning point. Calgary had the lead in Game 2. I think they had a 2-0 lead in Game 2. You won the first game. You're up 2-0 in the second game, and they blew it. They gave up the lead. They went on to lose that game, and they went on to lose the next 3 games, and that was it. And for me, I if there's takeaways, I think Jacob Markstrom was not himself. I think the guy we saw have a Vezina caliber season in the regular season. He did not show up. I think he's got the bugaboos with Edmonton. I think he does. He was good in the Dallas series, but all regular season he was awful against Edmonton. I think they have a scouting report on him, and I think he's just got the bugaboos. Some guys just suck against certain teams, like Freddie Anderson against Boston. Like you just suck. You're just bad.
Sure.
And that was them, and absolute shame. And I had him picked. The Oilers blew up my bracket. Kudos to Jay Woodcroft, that smart coach for the Oilers, rallying his troops and getting past Daryl Sutter. Credit to Draisaitl, who had like 17 points, I think, in 5 games, and he's hobbling on 1 foot.
Yeah.
Like, incredible. Kudos to Mike Smith, who got pulled in the first game, but then rallied, and came back. Even though he gave up a goal from the other blue line to Rasmus Anderson, they still won that game. Incredible. Again, why I have no faith in Edmonton, because that can happen any play. Yeah. And you saw that with Colorado last night, just picking corners on him, no problem. They're gonna have so much fun. They're gonna have so much fun with him this series. Yeah. I mean, who else? Zach Hyman, incredible. That contract really is showing it's coming to fruition. I know it's a long-term deal, and so jury's still out how it ages. But year 1, big 2 thumbs up. Unbelievable.
How could you let a player like that walk? How could you let a player like that go?
Well, that'll always stand. I mean, hey, but then there's all those people who say Bunting's still better.
That's so loud.
But where was Bunting in the Tampa series? Non-existent.
Like,
so I don't know about that argument.
He's so easy to fall in love with. This guy's unbelievable. Like when they needed a spark last night.
Even last night, yeah.
He gives them a spark. This guy's unbelievable. The knee is fine, folks. Like, he's fucking skating like crazy. He's doing great. Love this guy.
Yeah. Evander Kane stepped up again. He had a good series against Kings, and then he came back with another great series against the Flames. I mean, you could tell he was getting under their skin. He's that perfect mix of talent, but also a shit disturber at the same time, who no one wants to play against. Physical element to his game too. Yeah, those are really all my observations for Edmonton, and then for Calgary, I think again Markstrom wasn't himself. And yet again, this Calgary top line, 307 points amongst the 3 of them. Elias Lindholm is a star. No. Like, I know he was great in fantasy, and I'd look at his name always and be like, how's this guy top 10 in scoring in fantasy? This is unbelievable. This Lindholm.
Yeah.
And then no, you don't show up in the playoffs, and yet again, I think the rhetoric continues for Calgary. The big boys can't step up. Right. Gaudreau, that top line couldn't keep up with McDavid and Draisaitl, and they lost that battle of the first lines, and I think that was the tale here.
Yeah. Well, I gotta give some credit to Joe and I, actually.
You picked Edmonton.
Who, yeah, I was light on picking Edmonton. He was harder on it, but what we both said was, hey, listen, this Calgary team is overrated. And that was a tweet that Rink Moose made way before the playoffs started. And it's true. Like the depth is just not that good. This goalie unraveled. The stars didn't show up like they needed to. It's just, like you said, that first game was a lot of fun. It was cool. And then the rest of the series, you know what it was? It was McDavid Draisaitl highlights. That's all it was. It was like, wow, look at these two players making history. Like, Calgary will forever be known as the team that these two players made history on. Mm-hmm. Like, it's unbelievable. And you know what? They're not even the best part of them. I love Daryl Sutter so much in interviews. Like, this guy is the most adorable fucking interview. So good. He's unbelievable. Like that quote about sports, church, and music.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that? You have to pull it up right now. That is the best interview I've heard in the last decade, bar none. Bar none. It was just adorable. And then
Sutter, did you say church, music?
And yes. Yeah, listen to this. This is so fucking hilarious.
People together when you say Battle of Alberta, it's not a Battle of Alberta. How many people are in Alberta? 4.5 million, maybe? What brings people together since we became a province, and just so everybody here knows, it's not from Alberta. We became a province in 1905, I believe. So that's 116 years ago. What brings our province together always? Number one, sports. Number two, church. Number three, music. Think about it. So what's this doing into Alberta right now? It's bringing people together. They might cheer for the Oilers, they might cheer for the Flames. Big deal. It's a sport. That's what it's about.
Isn't that great?
Best thing ever. The NHL, what more could you ask for right now?
Isn't that
It's funny though, because no one knows what the fuck he's like. No one would agree with that and be like, church.
Yeah, that was
Like,
that's why it's so funny, because like you had me at music and sports,
Yeah.
but you're bringing your old school mentality into
like-
it. It's just so cute. I don't know.
No, he's great.
He's
great.
so good.
He's a great sport, and I loved his, like, they'd interview him on the bench during the game, and he'd give like a one-word answer, and then just like fucking tell them to fuck off. It was awesome. He's great. He a special place in my heart always for Daryl Sutter, but I'm disappointed in him because I hold him to such a high regard. You know, you're the defensive coach. You won 2 cups with LA. You came back from a 3-0 deficit against San Jose and went on to win that series in 7 and on way to win a cup. You can shut down anyone. You can win the Jennings Trophy any year, and you couldn't devise a system to shut down the Oilers. You fucked up. You had leads, and you blew them. You had a 2-0 lead in Game 2. You had a lead in Game 5. You blew it, and that's just so uncharacteristic of Daryl Sutter, and he's taken a hit in my books for that very reason. I always thought this guy was indestructible, but he couldn't do it. Like, the Oilers just would always find a way to cut through, like Swiss cheese, cut through whatever defensive structure that guy put in place. It was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen. My take on that is he's a great coach. He knows how to get that job done defensively. What if the personnel just couldn't handle, despite the system, the star power on Edmonton? Like, maybe we need to give more credit to that, rather than taking credit away from Sutter, because at the end of the day, I think what we've seen is that from whether it's McKinnon or McDavid or Draisaitl, these star players are finding ways, and thank God they are. They're finding ways to disrupt that ultra defensive style, which thank God, because McDavid had to fight through it in LA, and he had to fight through it in Calgary, and he blew Calgary open. Like Calgary was letting in goals left, right, and center. It's amazing to see, but that's the speed, the sense, everything he does. It disrupted the system, it's good for hockey. It's really good for hockey, and it's another telltale sign. Like maybe in years past, a St. Louis system would have beaten the Avalanche, would have beaten the McKinnons, but they found a way. So we're benefiting from it.
Yeah, very good for the game. So there you have it. Another quick exit for the Calgary Flames in a year they thought they had it. And, the Oilers, unprecedented. McDavid going off to his first conference final. Incredible. Moving on to the East. We'll start with, which one do you want to start with in the East? I guess we're watching the Rangers right now. We'll get right to Rangers, Carolina. The Nevermind series, as they would say. Do you want to start with that? Okay, so we're going to start with the Nevermind series. So we're going to play 2 calls for you guys. One from last year's playoffs, another from this year's playoffs, okay? And eerily similar, but also different. So let's get to the clips.
Starting with...
Right?
Yeah.
And the puck played out by Kakko. Race for Lafreniere. Hedl going to the front of the net. If you're Carolina, you think if I can get one in the next 5. Hedl all alone, he scores!
So optimistic.
Never mind. What a dagger. If there was going to be a comeback for Carolina, 40 seconds between the D'Angelo goal, get one in the next 5. And you think if I can get one in the next 5. Hedl all alone, he scores!
I think I heard it in the back of the... Oh!
Yeah.
If I can get one in the next 5. Hedl all alone, he scores!
It's like a whoa! Yeah, that's good. So what do we like? What do we like about that? It's very candid. It's he catches himself in the middle of looking like a little foolish, but he's cool about it. It's like he admits it. He's like, never mind. And it's fun. It's cool.
The timing is just so perfect. I don't even blame him for making that call because it was a turnover in the Carolina zone. Like, by all accounts, they should have broken it out of the zone. It would have been a fine thing to say. But just the serendipitous luck of that just happening like that, and then, to handle it like that, you can't just have no comment. If you don't say anything, you just look like an idiot.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got to have fun with it. You got to play it up.
Exactly.
And I think he did an excellent job.
Yeah. That's a sign of real professionalism, right?
So,
you look like a fucking goof.
So is this the sign of unprofessionalism, what we're about to watch here?
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Last year's playoffs. My favorite, in my opinion.
Ever.
And Price will... Sherrod steps up on Pacioretty, and Price will get to it.
Fleury's puck handler's made a difference, huh, Joe?
Yeah, it really has. I mean, Vegas is just not giving Montreal much of anything.
A fumble, and they score! Fleury gave it away to Josh Anderson.
Montreal much of anything.
A fumble, and they score! Fleury gave it away to... A fumble, and they score! A fumble, and they score! Fleury gave it away to Josh Anderson.
It's like a subtle Pierregasm. It's not a Tokarski level Pierregasm, but still a Pierregasm nonetheless.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
We need him back in the game.
Yeah.
We need him so bad.
Fleury's puck handling's been incredible, hasn't it, Joel? Oh!
Oh, fumble!
Yeah, it's
We need him back. Thank God.
and he doesn't even correct it. Like, I don't recall him correcting himself
No, he
during.
doesn't.
Yeah, it's like he just denies what he just said, which is just that's the definition of unprofessionalism.
Absolutely.
So Kyle and I couldn't help but think of that comment after we heard the Ray call. It's those comments where it's like the hockey gods, are having their way with these commentators. It's incredible.
Yeah, I love it.
Anyways, on to the actual series. 7-game series, home team series. They're trading wins. Two for Carolina, 2 for Rangers, 1-1. Carolina was up 3-2. You can go so many ways with this. I guess start from the game 6. Carolina's up 3-2. They actually play a pretty good game 6 in my opinion. I watched that game with our friend Richard Magoni, and they played really well. They were controlling the play, and that Ranta, he just was awful in that game 6. He was giving up these terrible goals. They pulled him. They put in the other goalie, and I just thought that was the turning point of the series. I think Carolina played an excellent game 5 at home. They had all the momentum going into New York to close it out in 6. They put up a great game. I thought they outplayed the Rangers largely in that game, but their goaltending just let them down. And that's not the first time we've said this. I think it's 2 straight years now. Carolina's goaltending has let them down, whether it's Peter Mrazek, whether it's James Reimer. They just can't get it done. And the guy they brought in to get it done, injured all series. They promised he'd be back at the end of round 1. Brindamore said, "You will see Freddie in round 2. You will see Freddie." Never saw Freddie. And I think that's the cryptic, quiet part of the series that no one's talking about is what the hell happened with that guy? What the hell is wrong with this guy? Because this isn't the first time he's been injured. With the Leafs, he was always injured. And this guy's he's just the definition of a Band-Aid boy. I think he's taken on that persona, and it's just not a good look. And it's just gonna hurt him. He's gonna be known as this great regular season goalie who he always gets injured or just can't get it on the playoffs, and he's just soft. And I think that Carolina Hurricanes bet on him. They gave him a contract, they gave him money, and it hasn't come to fruition. He had a great regular season, but doesn't mean shit if you're once again eliminated in the second round of the playoffs like them. So poor Carolina, one of my picks in the cup final is out, and pains me to say it.
Yeah, you took a hit on that one big time.
I was winning. I was winning the I was on my way to win the bracket challenge, and when they lost to Rangers, that did me in. I mean, Edmonton beating Calgary did me in, but Carolina blowing a 3-2 series lead, that did me in. No Shane Wright jersey for Nick.
Come on.
I'll get it. It just sucks. It's a harder pill to swallow.
Yeah, for sure. This series for me, utterly perplexed. I'm utterly perplexed by this Rangers team, 100%, because they have faced a shitty goaltending all through their journey so far, and they often look like shit. Like 5-on-5, this is easily the worst team left. It's not even a debate. At some points, we're like, where the fuck are the stars? They're not showing up. Panarin looks like shit, and then they're scoring big goals. It's like, what the fuck are we seeing? I can honestly tell you Gerard Gallant is not that good of a coach. He's been out-coached in every series so far, and they find ways to win. It doesn't make any sense. This team doesn't make any sense, as well as the fact that, to me, Carolina didn't put up as much of a performance that I thought they would. I thought Svechnikov was very disappointing. Oh, he was very frustrated. He was trying to throw his body around, but offensively, my goodness, this guy was a no-show. It was just, and this is the kind of series where I wanted to watch to see what's the hype about this guy. This is the type of player that I'd like to like, and I didn't see anything from him. And then you saw this hyped up Carolina defense, and they looked very pedestrian. There wasn't anything that was there that was stalwart defensively. This is amazing. I didn't see any of that. So I was just, I was perplexed. I think that what's going on right now, the Rangers have been so lucky in the fact that they're running into teams with underlying problems. And it's not just the goaltending, but I think Carolina really laid an egg in a way in this series. And I'll be damned. Now they're in the conference finals. And one thing we need to touch on is the performance of Laffy. He had some definitely some good games, some good moments. Hasn't been quite consistent enough for my liking, but he's definitely average, playing a lot better than he did in the regular season. He's making an impact for sure. My main question for you is that what does this mean for development? Like, what does going deep in the playoffs actually mean from a development standpoint? Are they better off getting more time in the summer to work on stuff, or is this the gold standard for experience and development? I don't know. I'd like to think of an example, right?
Oh, I think it's got to be this. I love developing through playing. I don't get the summer stuff. I mean, like I don't get
Give me an example, right?
well, I don't get that philosophy. Like
Think of
during
all the
COVID, during COVID, all these guys had time to technically develop, to take time off the ice and develop, and we saw it didn't do them very well. Like Laff did not have a very productive offseason during all that time off. He was living with Keandre Miller, who knows what he was doing in the gym, and he came back and he started the season and he just looked off. I think this is the way you develop because you're playing big games, big minutes, and in the spotlight, and just look at that Yuri Slafkovsky guy in the World Championships right now. You know, his I don't care if he sucks, but his stock, you can't deny his stock has risen with that tournament, and he's now number 1 in Pronman's rankings.
No.
Yeah, he's topped Shane now.
No.
Yeah,
Pronman?
Pronman has number 1.
What a goof.
Not the first time we've heard that on the show. But the point is, I mean, I think playing in a big stage, a guy coming out like that, like Laff's done in this series and like he did in the World Championships, I think it goes a long way. And I think it gives them confidence, you know, that now if you can produce at the NHL, at the Stanley Cup final level, you can produce on a random Tuesday night in Buffalo during the regular season, you know, like that's how it should work. Now, he might be an anomaly because Laff catches me as the kind of guy who goes hard during the big games, but then might sag on a Tuesday night in Buffalo, you know? So maybe that psychology doesn't work, but I still think we're seeing him. I think this is great development, and I think it's just like the World Juniors. It's like sending kids to the World Juniors, you know? It's the best development. You know, on a big stage like that, they always get better. 90% of the time, it's good for the players sending them to the World Juniors, you know? And I think this is Laff's World Juniors in a way. You know, it's his big stage to prove himself, and he's taking advantage of it.
I'd like to believe that. I really would like to believe that. Yeah, I mean, I hope you're right. I hope he's learning a lot. And but most importantly, I just want him to get some skating skills down, you know. Sure. But you know, I look back at, you know, look at the McDavids, the Matthews, the even the McKinnons. Like early in their career, they didn't have any playoff success, but they grew at an exponential rate, you know, despite that. So I'd like to believe you in that sense, but yeah, I guess the jury's still out. But.
Yeah, and lastly, I don't want to really talk about the Rangers very much because I feel like their story's left to be written. But as far as Carolina, again, I think Freddie Anderson's the story, him not staying healthy. I think Svechnikov, you nailed it. A guy who in fantasy, he was going top 10 in drafts, you know? You know, like you were pressuring me to take him, you know? And he was great in the regular season, but he just sucked in this playoffs. You know, they eerily remind me of like a Calgary. You know, like good regular season guys. You know, Sebastian Aho's like Johnny Gaudreau. You can produce in the regular season, you can look good in the regular season, but come the playoffs, put up or shut up, spotlight, big game, you don't show up. You know? And the stars of Carolina, if you even want to call them stars at this point, they just sagged. Nowhere to be seen. Adam Fox stood out. Zibanejad stuck out. Yeah. Shesterkin stuck out. Panarin stuck out. Where's the stars? Yeah. Tero Teravainen's your best player?
Yeah, you're right.
I'll happily take Tero Teravainen in my next draft next year, but that can't be your best player, you know? Incredibly disappointing. And here's another thing. Other than the stars, a very soft team. Who on that team is hard-nosed and is going to push you around, you know? Jacob Trouba pushed them around.
Yes.
Jacob Trouba fucked up Seth Jarvis in that Game 7, and there was no retaliation.
No.
You know? No one was going to retaliate with Ryan Reeves. Tony DeAngelo? No, he's just going to go in and chirp. He can't actually throw his fists. That guy just throws hockey sticks at people.
Yeah.
So I think they're not only is the star power lacking on that team, I think they're growing a reputation of being a soft team,
Wow.
which is sad because you'd like to think a Rod Brindamore team wouldn't be soft, but I'm sorry, I don't see these guys other than just a bunch of complainers. You know, like
Right.
Tony D'Angelo, you just whine and complain. You don't actually do anything.
Oh, he's a huge bitch.
Yeah, and it's just not a good look. So, yeah, I don't know about this team anymore. I don't know. As much as I love defensive teams, you win the Jennings Trophy, great. This rhetoric of fucking up in the second round over and over again, it's like Calgary. You get to a big stage, Stars don't show up, soft, and you bow out.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly sad, and they got to get their shit together. I don't know how. Whatever they're doing, that analytic community there, I don't get it. Even like a Kotkaniemi,
Oh.
awful looking contract now.
Oh my God.
Is he not getting paid $5 or $6 million a year?
6.1 million. And he's
To do what?
He's a third line center at best, and he had two points all playoffs. 2.
Yeah,
The guy sucks, man. And why did you make such a big deal?
2
tonight?
points in 14 games,
You're a joke.
and you're paying him $6 million. They did it to shove a fist up Marc Bergevin's ass. You know, that's why they did it. But now it's not a good look. Like at the time, you looked like you were getting the best of him, but now you just look like a fucking idiot because your cap situation's gonna suck. So good luck, and that's a long-term deal too. So buckle up.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Carolina, you've lost some rep in my books, and I'm not picking you to get to the conference final again. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's it for me.
Let's move on.
Lastly, we won't spend much time on this series. Yeah, there he is, man of the hour. Florida, the Battle of Florida. This one obviously was over pretty quick. Sweep. What's the thing that sticks out to you here? Is it the Panthers going to a strip club the night before Game 4? Because that's my storyline.
That is the major storyline. Like, you know what that storyline is, and what it revolves around. The Panthers knew they were done after Game 3, and so they had the gall to go out to the strip club. Yeah. What the fuck happened to this team, man? Yeah. Like, I don't understand how some team could lay such an egg as they did. I watched. I'll be honest. After the first game, I was like, "This is done," because like the Stars fucking laid it. The power play looked horrendous. How the fuck was this the top offensive team in the league? Like and guys you'd think would be able to step up, like the Barkovs of the world, the Claude Giroux. What?
He was okay.
It's like
he should fight. He tried hard.
And at least I just don't get it, man. Like the roster is unbelievable. The goalie was fine. You've got Aaron Ekblad. You've got all this star power up front. You were absolutely dismantled. It's unbelievable, and that's the story for me is how quickly the world found out that they were outclassed. And then there's debates about the regular season roster not built for the playoffs. We got to really take a look after this season at what that really means. Like what kind of players that is, what kind of roster that is, because this is a case study in that very topic. And I won't even make a comment about how great Tampa was, because sure they were great, but I think this is more a story of how Florida shite the bed.
Well, especially to bow out in 4. I mean, this was the year they were supposed to actually take it to Tampa. You took them to 6 games last year. Surely you had to do the same or better this time around. And to get swept in 4, just utterly embarrassing. Yeah, just not a good look. And to your point, we just talked about it with Carolina, the Stars not showing up for Florida. I mean, Barkov is always renowned as a guy in the league, a star in the league, a Selke Trophy candidate every year, a perennial 90-point guy. And boy, oh boy, yeah, guy just didn't show up. He just didn't look good, frankly. Right. Like all series, he just didn't look good. And Huberdeau probably looked a tad better, but still, nothing to write home about. And
last year you were raving about Huberdeau.
I was?
Yes. You texted me, you said, Lafreniere will never be Huberdeau. He will never be this good.
He's a very creative player. Like I still, there's moments in time I watch a play he makes and I'm like, very impressive. But holistically, you watch him against these Tampa guys who have a two-way game. They play a lot smarter. They just know how to win. I think Huberdeau's talent, too many men maybe. I think he's talented and he can get you off your seat at times. I just don't know if he knows how to win. You know, he's not a winner.
Right.
That's how I look at him. And then the rest of the guys, I mean, yeah, Giroux tried hard. Poor guy. He won't come home with a cup this year. He wanted to go to Florida. He won't get it. Bobrovsky, I thought that would be the reason they would lose the series, but I was totally wrong. He played fine. He played all games. They didn't need Spencer Knight. He played well enough to win, and he just ran into an even better goalie across from him, and his teammates letting him down. It's an utter embarrassment. I'm curious what they do with that coach. I know he had a good regular season, but you get swept. That's not a good look. So you got to be thinking that management. They're looking around. They're snooping. Is a Trotz available? Is a DeBoer available? What's going to happen there?
Because they invested a lot to go on this run.
First rounders, Sherrod. Where was Sherrod all series?
I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you.
So you lost a first for Sherrod and a first for Giroux. Is that right?
I think so.
That's awful. That's awful.
And nothing happened. Not even a win in the second round.
Not even a win at home for your fans. Just really, really bad. And yet again, another time-tale, truth of why you can't overlook this President's Trophy thing. Just because you win the dance doesn't mean you're gonna make a run in the playoffs. And it holds true yet again here. So poor Florida. And all, to your point, won't say much about Tampa other than they just know how to win. There were so many clips in this series, like slow motion shots of Tampa just blocking shots. Any part of your body to get in front of that puck, you do it. And I've never seen so many guys just buy in. The polar opposite between them buying in, sacrificing their bodies at every stage, and Florida playing like a completely soft, pedestrian, walk in the park kind of game. It was just such a polar opposite style of hockey. And I think that's why Tampa just ran the floor with them in 4 games. Just here we go, 2-on-1. Oof. Yeah. So poor Florida. They got to learn how to play. It's almost like the Leafs. They're like a Leafs, Yeah. They play a great regular season, and you just don't know how to turn it on in the playoffs. You don't have that winning brand of hockey. You just don't have it dialed down like Tampa does, and Tampa just showed them. And boy, what I got to ask you this before we move on. What do you think of all the Leaf fans out there going, well, we took this team to 7. You got swept. If only we got past Tampa, we would have been in the final right now. What do you think of that take?
Whatever helps you sleep at night. That's kind of where I go with that. I mean, like I said before, I think Florida shite the bed more than anything there. And let's be honest, Tampa, like I said before, Tampa did not show up for a lot of those Toronto games, and they certainly showed up for every one of the Florida games. So please don't read into that. People will, but just save your fucking self. Save yourself, for Christ's sakes.
You don't think you're going to hear Shanahan and Dubas say, we took the Cup champs to 7, but they swept Florida?
They absolutely will. That's just natural human nature. Save my own ass, right? Of course they're going to look at that. Of course any defensive Leafs fan like Joe will look at that, point at that, and go, look, the President's Trophy guys went out in 4 games. We took them to 7. Well, come on, guys. Grow up a little bit. Different series.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that leads us to the East and West Conference Final. We start with, I guess we'll start with the game last night. Why don't you segue our audience to that series as I get a beer, Kyle?
Yes. So we have probably what to me is the most exciting, high-octane, high-energy playoff series that perhaps I've ever been a part of. And that's a big thing to say, but finally we're getting a rare circumstance, and we've seen this in things like the Crosby Ovechkin series in Washington and Pittsburgh, but this is at a whole new level. Like that's what was special about those series is it was the two best players in the game going head to head and fighting it out in the playoffs. What we have here is something similar along those lines. Two of the best players in the game, but they just happen to be these dynamic speed demons who just drip in skill, and that's why I think and their teams also kind of emulate that style as well. So I just think that we're in for a real treat, and we've seen game one, and we've seen what this series might. Oh, we got Laffy getting right into it. With Cal Footy. Oh, oh my God, guys. Guys, crazy shit is happening.
You're seeing history unfold.
We just saw Laffy pop Cal Foot in the fucking chin and then laugh about it with a blue tongue. What the fuck?
What is going on in New York right now?
I gotta see what happened there.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let's see if we
So we saw Laffy get tied up with Cal Foot after the play, laugh in his face, pop him in the mouth, and then continue to laugh with a Gatorade blue tongue. His signature.
It's almost like he like lulled him into a sense of security by not punching and laughing at him.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, just boom.
And it was such a light, soft punch. Hold on. Oh, God!
He just looks away and starts
It's
I hate to play against this guy. This guy's awful.
Someone called him the next Brad Marchand on that. There's something there, man.
I've seen it.
Hey, there's something there where he's a bit of a pest.
Oh my God. Let's see how this. Yeah, we got some. Oh, we got another punch.
Oh my God, folks. Oh!
Yeah. He got him because clearly his head snapped back, and then he the blue tongue.
The fuck is going on here, folks?
Wow, I love this guy. This is great.
Yeah. Well, this is why you own him in
On
fantasy.
my team, yeah.
Yeah, this is why you own him. For this goofy stupidity. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, as I was saying, I kind of related it back to Crosby Ovechkin of the yesteryears, but this one being two of the best players in the game, fueled by speed. And then you know what? We're in for a treat. But what I will say, as offensive as and great as Colorado is, something that I learned in Game 5 after that big McKinnon goal, Tampa would never have let that game be tied up again. When it comes time to shell up and shut it down, the Avalanche don't have that. So as much as I think they are the juggernaut of the West and they'll make it to the finals, I do predict them to move on in this series. They don't have that, and that's a little bit scary. And the goalie is not as good, for sure. So if they're to win a cup, they're going to have to outscore some of those deficiencies. And I think that what a great way to gain confidence in scoring, because this series is going to be fucking crazy high octane. Oh! Wow, Frankie Vetrano snipe show.
Wow,
Jeez.
sniped on.
All good goals though, like
Yeah.
all really
You can't
quality
blame the
goals.
goalies, they're all wow.
Yeah,
Watch this replay. That might even be nicer than the one-timer.
I think it is. I think it really is.
That's incredible. Let's watch this again, folks. Rangers controlling breakout. Zibanejad up the ice, up to who's that? Adam Fox to Vetrano. Vetrano kind of bobbles the puck. Vetrano picks it up, wrist shot, boom. Top corner.
Wow, kind of a fucked up play until
Yeah.
the wrist shot there.
He had nothing going there, you know.
Yeah.
And he happened to pick up the puck, and the rest is history. Wow.
Not so
Incredible
much
shot.
of a screen either, just
No,
a great quick
just,
one.
Just like that Stamkos one. Not much of a screen, just a beautiful shot.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, we're in for a treat. We're witnessing history, as we all know. We're watching some of the best players.
Yeah.
Like, I think Makar is probably the most talented defenseman I've ever seen. Probably bar none. You might make a case for prime Erik Karlsson. but this guy's just got unbelievable skill, and it's must-watch hockey. Must-watch. Oh! Oh!
Did he get a piece?
I think he got a piece, yeah.
Wow. Vasilevsky makes a retro save going down laterally, stacking the pads, and somehow getting a piece of the Ryan Strome shot on a 2-on-1 with Artemi Panarin after the Tampa Bay Lightning hit a post. Frankie Vetrano scoring to go up 2-1. Incredible stuff in this game. This game is already wowing me. I was not expecting this. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned I think it's that series where you're watching history. I mean, people like our parents can look back and say, I watched Gretzky play against Lemieux in a playoff series, you know? Is this akin to saying that? I saw McDavid against McKinnon in a playoff series?
I'll say yes. Like, objectively, yes, that is what we have on our hands here. But the way these two players are hyped up, it's not that same level. Like, not a lot of people talk about McKinnon, you know, and in the States, not a lot of people talk about McDavid. The way the media's hyped these players up is not to that level, but certainly from a skill level standpoint, I think that is what we have here for sure. And then you add the complementary pieces like Draisaitl. It can't be taken away from this guy. Probably the best passer in the game right now. He's banged up. He can barely skate, but he finds ways to just be a gravitational force and bring guys in and just dish the puck. Like, he's great to watch in the fact that he's playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers. Like, this guy is a genius on the ice, and that is a great thing to watch as well in a whole different regard. Both goalies struggling. Who knows what you're going to get out of Mike Smith? Darcy Kemper's been very, very injured now. Who knows how long that injury is? I don't really know what it is. It's a vision thing, but he's been very meh. And then you've got Pavel Francouz, who's a competent backup, but he's a backup. So all signs point to high scoring, lots of fun, a great series. I don't think we're going to count Edmonton out too much. I think they've got something there to make it a 5 or 6 gamer. I don't think it's going to go 7, though. That's the way I see it.
No, I don't either. Yeah, like, man, just that Edmonton team just can't defend. Like, watching that game last night was painful at times. Like, when they were up 7-3, like, Edmonton just checked out. A, they can't defend. B, like, you could tell Colorado knows they have Mike Smith's number. Like, you can tell they know Mike Smith's a joke. Everyone knows the guy's a joke. It's a fluke he's gotten this far in the playoffs. Like, that goal last night, that should have been off, like, the Makar goal. Yeah. Makar just brought it across the blue line, and he just said, I'm just going to rip it on this guy because I don't think he's very good. Yeah. And he just beat him. There was no screen. It was just I'm going to beat this guy shoulder high. And, like, that's all they have to do. Cross the blue line, rip it on him, and you'll win the series. Tampa ties the game 2-2. Andre Palat, a rebound. Past Igor Shesterkin. Let's take a look at this one unfold here, folks. Back and forth kind of an affair we have here in this opening game.
All started by Laffy's punch.
Yeah.
That opened the game up.
Wow. That hurt. Let's take a look here. Offside. Potential offside here. Palat crosses the zone. Cirelli potentially offside. So we'll take a look at that. We'll see if they want to challenge this. Stamkos turnaround shot pass kind of pad save. Shesterkin rebound right to Palat. Palat tucks it home. 2-2. Rangers do not look like they're going to challenge this. Let's see here. As we we're gonna drop the puck here. We got a tie game. Halfway through this game, we have a tie game 2-2. Yeah, so I don't think Edmonton can defend, and B, I think their goalie is subpar. I know he's made me shut up because I've been calling him out the last 2 series, and he's won. But he's not winning in a convincing fashion. He's winning, but he's not doing it convincingly. And you see that with the goal that went in through, the other team's blue line. Rasmus Anderson scores from like 100 feet out. What a joke. And I just think Colorado, they're going to remember that. Teams remember that kind of shit. That doesn't just, sink to oblivion. And I think they know they can beat this guy from any and all angles, and they're going to be uber aggressive. They're going to fire their 40 shots a game, and they're going to win the series, and they're going to win it pretty handedly. I think they'll win in like 5 games.
You think so, eh? Well, I would have agreed, but the way Edmonton came back last game, it really did open my eyes a little bit.
Oh yeah, and again, Tampa doesn't let that happen. If Tampa's up 7-3, they don't give up a lead to 7-6.
Correct. Yeah. So that's the only thing is like Colorado does have that susceptibility, especially, and they haven't faced a talent like the top guys in Edmonton yet.
And
who knows?
and they, for a team that Vegas has predicted to win it all, they got some glaringly bad players there on defense. Like Jack Johnson, that giveaway in that St. Louis game in the Game 6 was awful. And he's not very good. He's never been very good. I don't know why he's on that team. Eric Johnson's fine. Wow.
Laffy? Oh man, that sucks.
You got to press circle. Oh, there you go. No, you're good.
I thought for sure that was a Laffy goal.
Was he even on the ice?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we gotta watch this one.
Yeah, this is incredible back and forth action here. The fans loving it in New York.
What a barn that must be.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this is just, folks, we were just talking about how Tampa can defend. This is just blown coverage. This is 3 guys in front of the Tampa net just staring at the guy with the Rangers behind the net, not keeping track of Philip Cheadle, who's in the most dangerous position of all, and he's just wide open, finds a spot there in open ice, and rips it past Vasilevsky. No chance for Vasilevsky. Top cheese, and just blown coverage. Uncharacteristic blown coverage from John Cooper's Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, like you know what? They're not Superman,
They're after 9 days off. I think it clearly got to them,
And you know what? Maybe they're overconfident from the stupid Florida Panthers. Like this is, I think what we're realizing is New York does have a resiliency to them, and they have some wild cards.
And Laugh gets a point. That's 8 career playoffs points now. That's most in New York Rangers history before the age of 21.
Oh.
Which means he's destined to be the next
Mark Messier?
The next Mark Messier.
Wow.
There you have it, folks.
Put the C on him already.
Yeah, no kidding. So yeah, that's how I see that going. I go 5 games. Maybe you see it going 6.
I go 6.
Yeah, you go 6 just because, maybe you don't have faith in the Colorado defense. But yeah, I was just getting into that point. Their defenseman. Jack Johnson doesn't give me a lot of confidence. You know who also doesn't give me a lot of confidence? Josh Manson.
Oh,
He had an awful game. He had an awful game last night.
He did.
He was on
I loved
like
Josh.
awful reads.
Yeah.
Like those first 2 goals, he was looking in the sky, like swearing at himself.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
He had a terrible game. But I've been really.
So as a guy who watches Colorado on the daily, you're saying that doesn't happen often?
No. I love this guy. Like this is the one guy they have back there that can clear the front of the net.
Boy, oh
be a
boy.
physical presence.
Because that was like the worst single game of any defenseman I've seen in this whole playoffs. It was just terrible.
You're
It was a
blowing up.
terrible game he had.
No.
He was on for the first 3 goals against, and he played a critical role in all 3 going in.
Well, yeah, he went drinking out. I don't know. Maybe he had a rough
good
night.
look.
Didn't get any sleep.
Yeah.
Give him a break.
So yeah, I don't know. Despite that, though, I still like guys like that more than Cody Ceci and Tyson Barrie and Duncan Keith. So
You know what should be said? I will say this. A trend I've noticed with the teams left in the playoffs. Oh, fuck, Lindgren getting banged up again. The trend I've noticed is that a lot of the teams left have that star puck-moving defenseman. Or start, like we've got Adam Fox, we've got Victor Hedman, we've got Cale Makar, all left in the playoffs. I think when it comes time to building that blueprint, I think this is becoming part of it now. So that's just a little point that I noticed.
fair enough. And I really looking forward to seeing this Makar, more than McKinnon McDavid, more this Makar McDavid matchup. a guy skating really fast forward, a guy skating really fast backward.
What's he doing?
Like,
He doing? Laffy completely dropped his stick. It's not even broken, and then he just shuffles down and swipes at the puck with his hand.
right to the Tampa player.
What is he?
Like I guess he thought he could dump it in via his fucking right hand, but that did not work.
What the hell are we watching from this player? Yeah,
That was sad.
not happy.
That was sad.
How are you gonna keep this guy?
That was really embarrassing. Oh yeah, that was really rough. Okay. Moving right along. I mean, I guess to this series as we watch it unfold right now. Tampa Rangers. Killorn stopped on a partial breakaway by Shesterkin, who continues to have a great game. Yeah, we're seeing it unfold here. 3-2 Rangers, 7 minutes left in the second. Up and down game. I mean, lots of people said not a lot of goals were going to be scored here. Clearly wrong so far. Up and down action, plenty of scoring chances. If this is any indication of what the series is going to be like, Kyle, I'm all in.
This is great. This is great so far, and this has completely changed my perception of how I'm going to predict this series. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, still, I wouldn't sleep on Tampa. You know, I maintain it's hard to bet against them until they lose, and I, you know, I don't believe in this Cinderella story. Like, it's been so impressive to this point, but you know, let's not forget. You know, you beat up on a Carolina team that was a bunch of wimps and didn't have their starting goalie. So as much as it was impressive and they showed an incredible amount of resolve, I'm still not convinced these guys are the real deal, and I think they're going to meet their match here in Tampa. I just, you know, I think they'll show fight. I think they can stick up to guys like Perry and Maroon and guys like Reeves and Trouba will give them a handful. I'm sure they will. And Shesterkin arguably is better than Vasilevsky. I know Vasilevsky they say is the best, but this Shesterkin guy, he proved in that Carolina series he's the real deal. And he's going to win the Vezina. So they got a shot. You know, anytime you got a goalie like him, you got a shot. They're going to steal a game or two because they got that goalie. It might be even this one. We'll see. And they'll give a good fight. And they're incredibly good at home ice. This barn is great there, MSG, and they've proven they're very, very good at home ice. They have home ice advantage in this series. Yeah, I'm with you, Kyle. I think it's harder to predict now watching this, and I don't think you can sleep on them. Look at them; they're just controlling. This is even strength, and they're putting together an incredible shift here, just continually pressing Tampa. This to me is Tampa being laid off for 9 days. I don't think this is good. I don't think a long break is good, and I think we're seeing that right now. Whereas the Rangers, they're just so seasoned after that. Wow, another goal, another one. They're almost gone in on Vasilevsky. This is just textbook cycling of the puck. They've made a whole line change right now in this whole shift, and now the kid line is on, and wow, look at that. Sergachev's been on the ice for almost 3 minutes. What a keep by Fox. Wow, and what a deke around. Oh my God. This is just look at this is
Oh my God. Oh my God, guys. The kid line just got their second goal in the last 5 minutes.
and that's like the best shift I've seen this whole playoffs. Like that was just dominating.
And MSG is going nuts. It's going bananas in there. Wow.
What a pass, what a finish, what a keep by Fox. What an incredible play. Let's let Ray make the call here.
Those are gassed Tampa Bay Lightning players. Watch the pass from Keandre Miller through the seam. Game 6 against Carolina. Heedle scores twice in the second period. He gets 2 in the second period. Here in game 1 off the shoulder of Vasilevsky. The Rangers have scored more on Tampa Bay tonight than Tampa Bay gave up in the last round.
What a call, Ray. What a call. Yeah, he's not joking. I mean, that's incredible. This is something else, folks. We got a series, and something I expected wouldn't be a series. We just got ourselves a series here. That said, I'm not going to let this jade my judgment. Tampa will still win this series, but it's going to be probably longer than expected. And that's not just me cheating watching this first game here. Geez.
Wow.
Jeez.
Swayed. I am swayed, I'm telling you.
I'm going to go... Tampa in 6.
Rangers in 7. Let's go. We had a Cinderella team last year that made it to the finals, and we're going to have one this year. Cinderella. That's what's happening right now. It's going to happen. And I think what we're seeing now, we've got magic from the kid line. We've got a great goalie. We've got stars that are producing. You've got a lot of things going right now. It's crazy. This.
Gerard Gallant can out-coach John
No,
Cooper?
no, he won't.
So how's he going to win then?
He could still win without out-coaching him. Yeah, but that's that, man. This is Laffy in the finals. That's good experience. Wow, this is insane.
Yeah, that's really something.
Yeah, there we go. Very exciting.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our predictions, they're locked and loaded. We agree with one series, disagree on the other. So we'll see what happens. Wow, so you got Rangers and Colorado in the final.
Lucky me, eh?
Yeah,
Oh my
fuck.
God,
Yeah, those are
I'm
your
spoiled
teams.
this year.
You're spoiled. This
I'm spoiled.
between this year and last year,
Oh,
you're on a high.
I'm killing it, man.
You're just yeah, this is the golden age for you.
I'm killing it.
Um,
No debate.
Yeah. Okay.
No debate.
Well, as we near 10 o'clock Eastern time here on the East Coast, we hope you enjoyed the podcast, our season 2 series, our semifinal recap, our conference final preview. We hope you enjoyed. We sure as hell enjoyed it. Hopefully next time you find us in a hot tub, but this was fun nonetheless. So until next time, enjoy the rest of the playoffs. We've had some great hockey so far. It's only going to get better. And we hope you tune into next episode, our 10th episode of the season. Do not miss it. Our Stanley Cup final predictions and potentially a recap from a trip to Colorado, but we'll see about that. Stay tuned on that front, folks. So until next time, Rink Moose is signing off.